My heart stopped beating when the clay pot shattered on the floor. I bent down to help pick up the pieces, and that was when I saw it. It was not a root. It was not a stone. It was a piece of the white lace from my wedding gown, tied tight with red thread and soaked in dirty oil, buried inside my best friend's flower pot. I stood there shaking because the person who did this was the same person laughing with me in the kitchen just 2 minutes ago. Let me take you back to the beginning so you can understand why my hands were shaking. Tolu and I were not just friends, we were like rice and stew. We did everything together since we were small girls in secondary school wearing checked uniforms. If I cry, Tolu will cry. If I laugh, she will laugh. We shared lunch and secrets and dreams. When my husband, Obi, proposed to me, Tolu was screaming louder than me. She was the one who hugged me so tight I thought my ribs would break. During the wedding preparations, Tolu took over everything. She told me, "Nneka, you are the bride. Just sit down and look pretty. Let me handle the stress." She handled the caterer. She handled the hall. She even insisted on handling the aso ebi that all our friends wore. She collected the money and she went to the market herself. She distributed the clothes to everyone. Everyone praised her. They said I was lucky to have a friend like Tolu. They said she was a friend like a sister. I thought so too. I trusted her with my life. On my wedding day, she was the one who helped me dress up. She fixed my hair, she zipped my dress, she wiped my sweat. But life has a way of changing people. 6 months passed after the beautiful wedding. The music had stopped and the guests had gone home, and the reality of marriage started. My stomach was still flat. Every month I would cry when I saw my period. Obi, my husband, told me to be patient. He said, "Nneka, relax, it will happen." But it is hard to be patient when your best friend is growing big with a baby. Yes, Tolu became pregnant just 3 months after my wedding. I was happy for her, I swear, but it was hard. Tolu changed. She started talking to me like I was a small child. She would visit me and rub her stomach and say things that hurt my heart. She told me, "Nneka, maybe God wants you to rest first." She said, "At least you have your career. Children are stressful." She said these things with a smile, but the words felt like small stones hitting my chest. That Saturday afternoon, she called me to come over for pepper soup. I did not want to go because seeing her baby bump made me feel somehow, but I went because she is my best friend. I sat in her parlor watching the TV while she was in the kitchen. Her husband, Femi, came home early looking for a file. He was rushing. He was running up and down the house, shouting that he was late for a meeting. As he rushed past the corridor, his bag hit the big clay pot that Tolu kept near the window. Gabam! The pot fell with a loud crash. Sand scattered everywhere on the white tiles. Femi was shouting, "Sorry, sorry." I stood up to help him clean it because I'm not a guest in their house. Tolu was still in the kitchen fetching water and shouting at Femi for being clumsy. I used my hands to pack the sand. That was when my fingers touched something soft. It was buried deep inside the soil near the roots of the plant. It was a small bundle wrapped in black nylon. I do not know why I opened it. Maybe it was the Spirit of God. I tore the nylon small. Inside it, I saw white lace. It was the same expensive pattern as my wedding gown. It was stained with something that smelled like palm oil. It was tied with red thread, and inside the knot I saw strands of hair that looked exactly like the attachment I used for my bridal hair. My head started spinning. Tolu walked into the room with a mop in her hand and froze when she saw what I was holding. Tolu stood there looking at me, and her face changed color. It was like all the blood left her body. She dropped the mop on the floor and tried to smile, but the smile did not reach her eyes. She asked me, "Nneka, what is that in your hand? Give it to me. Let me throw it away. It is just dirty rubbish." Her voice was shaken. If it was just rubbish, why was she sweating? If it was just rubbish, why was she looking at my hand like I was holding a gun? I did not answer her. I quickly put the dirty bundle inside the pocket of my jeans. I told her, "Tolu, do not worry about the dirt. I will throw it away outside." She tried to block my way. She said, "Nneka, wait now. Let us eat the pepper soup I made for you." She tried to hold my hand, but her skin felt cold like fish. I pulled my hand away. I told her that my stomach was turning me and I needed to go home immediately to take medicine. I did not wait for her to talk again. I turned around and walked out of the door. I could feel her eyes burning my back as I walked to my car. My heart was beating ga-bum, ga-bum, ga-bum inside my chest. I drove away from her house like a mad woman. I did not go home to my husband, Obi. I knew he would say I am imagining things or that I'm being superstitious. I needed someone who understands the world better. I drove straight to my grandmother's house. Mama is old and she lives in the old part of town, but she has wisdom that books cannot teach. When I entered her compound, she was sitting outside on her wooden chair. I did not even greet her properly. I just knelt down in front of her and brought out the nylon from my pocket. I placed it on the small table in front of her. Mama looked at the bundle and she stopped chewing her cola nut. The air around us became heavy. She asked me, "Nneka, where did you find this thing?" I told her I found it buried inside Tolu's flower pot. Mama opened the nylon slowly. She did not fear it. She used a small stick to untie the red thread. When the white lace opened up, she saw the hair inside. She looked at me with pity in her eyes. She said, "Nneka, this is not just a charm. This is a binding. This person took the cloth you wore on your happiest day and the hair from your head to tie your womb. They want to swap your destiny. They want to use your luck to shine while you stay in the darkness crying." I sat on the hard floor and covered my mouth with my hand. I wanted to scream, but the sound could not come out. Mama asked me a question that made my blood turn to ice water. She asked me if Tolu gives me anything to drink or eat when I visit her. My mind flashed back to all the Saturdays I spent at Tolu's house. Every time I went there, she would give me a special herbal tea or Zobo drink. She would say, "Nneka, drink this one. It is good for stress. It will help you relax." She would watch me drink it till the last drop. I started to cry. I was not crying because I was sad. I was crying because I felt like a fool. I was drinking poison from the hands of my sister. I was swallowing my own barrenness while she sat there laughing at me inside her heart. All those times she told me sorry and hugged me, she was the one causing the problem. She was stealing my joy to build her own happiness. Mama told me to stand up. She said, "Nneka, wipe your tears because crying is for weak people." She said, "We will burn this thing, but you have to be strong." I stood up and wiped my face. The Nneka that walked into Mama's house was a crying girl, but the Nneka that walked out was different. I was ready to face her. 2 days passed before I called her. I did not call to shout. I did not call to curse. I called her with a voice that was cold like pure water inside a fridge. I told her, "Tolu, let us meet at that big restaurant in Victoria Island, the one where they sell expensive rice." I told her it was urgent. She agreed, but I could hear fear in her voice. She knew something was wrong. I prepared myself like a soldier going to war. I did not wear jeans or a simple gown. I went to my wardrobe and brought out the purple lace asoebi that Tolu chose for my friends on my wedding day. I sewed a style with it that fit my body perfectly. I wrapped my head tie well. I put on my makeup. I wanted to look beautiful. I wanted her to see me shining. When I looked in the mirror, I did not see a barren woman. I saw a queen who was coming for her throne. I arrived at the restaurant before her. I sat near the window so I could see when she arrived. When Tolu walked in, she looked tired. Her pregnancy was heavy now and she was walking slowly. When she saw me wearing the purple lace, her eyes opened wide. She stopped walking for a second before she came to the table. She sat down and asked me, "Nneka, why are you dressed like this? Is there a party somewhere?" I did not smile. I did not answer her question. I just ordered water. We sat there in silence for a long time. The waiter brought the menu, but nobody looked at it. The air between us was thick. Tolu tried to talk. She said, "Nneka, how is Obi? Hope everything is fine at home." I looked at her and I felt pity. She was my best friend, but she was also my enemy. I reached into my handbag slowly. Tolu stopped breathing. Maybe she thought I brought a gun. I brought out the small piece of white lace. I had washed the palm oil away, but the red thread was still there. I placed it gently on the white tablecloth between us. I asked her if she recognized it. Tolu looked at the cloth and she looked at me. She tried to laugh, but it sounded like a goat choking on grass. She said, "Nneka, what is this rag? Why are you showing me dirty cloth in a public place?" I leaned forward. I told her, "Tolu, stop lying." I told her I know about the flower pot. I told her I know about the hair. I told her I know about the drink she gave me every Saturday to poison my body. Tolu's face crumbled. The mask fell off. She did not pretend anymore. She did not beg. She looked at me with eyes full of hate. She asked me if she wanted to know the truth. I told her yes. She said, "Nneka, since secondary school, you have always been the one on top. You became head girl. I was nothing. You got the scholarship. I paid school fees. You married a rich architect, and I managed a mechanic." She said she was tired of clapping for me. She said she wanted just one thing that I could not have. She said she wanted to see me cry. She wanted to be the one giving me advice while I suffered. She said she did it because she wanted to steal my shine so she could finally feel big. I sat there listening to my best friend confess that she hated me simply because my life was good. It broke my heart more than the charm ever could. I looked at Tolu and I saw a stranger. This was the person I shared my lunch with for 6 years. This was the person I called my sister. But now, sitting in front of me, she looked like a monster. Her belly was big with a child, but her heart was small with wickedness. She wiped her face and told me that she was not sorry. She said she felt good seeing me run up and down looking for doctors. She said it made her feel like we were finally equal. Can you imagine that? She wanted to bring me down to the mud just so she could feel tall. I wanted to slap her. My hand was itching me to land a hot slap on her cheek to reset her brain. But I remembered what my grandmother told me. She said, "Nneka, do not fight a pig in the gutter because you will get dirty and the pig will enjoy it." I took a deep breath, I picked up my bag, and I stood up slowly. Tolu looked at me with confusion. She expected me to shout. She expected me to create a scene so people would look at us, but I refused to give her that satisfaction. I looked down at her, sitting on the chair. I told her, "Tolu, you think you have won because you are pregnant and I am not." I told her that a baby is a blessing from God and you cannot steal a blessing. I told her that the child inside her will grow up and one day he will know that his mother is a thief of joy. I told her that she did not just steal my happiness, she stole her own peace too. I told her to keep the Asho-ebi and the friendship because I do not want it anymore. I told her that from today, she is dead to me. I turned my back and walked away. I did not look back. I heard her calling my name, but I walked straight to my car. When I entered my car, I did not cry. I felt light. It was like someone removed a heavy bag of cement from my head. I drove straight home to meet my husband, Obi. He was in the parlor reading a newspaper. I sat him down and I told him everything. I told him about the flower pot. I told him about the lace and the hair. I told him about the poison drinks Tolu gave me every Saturday. Obi opened his mouth and he could not close it. He stood up and started pacing around the room. He was angry. He wanted to go to Tolu's house and break everything. He wanted to go and beat her husband, Femi. He shouted that Tolu is a witch and a wicked soul. He said we must arrest her. He said we must make her pay for trying to damage my womb with her local herbs. I held his hand and told him to calm down. I told him that we will report to the police about the poisoning, just so it is on record, but we will not fight her. I told him that silence is the best answer for a fool.
We went to the police station that evening. We wrote a statement. We told the police that Tolu confessed to putting herbs in my drink without my permission. The police said they would invite her for questioning. But inside me, I knew the battle was already over. The charm was exposed. The secret was out. Tolu had no power over me again. That night, I slept like a baby for the first time in 6 months. I did not dream of snakes or crying. I dreamed of a garden with beautiful flowers blooming everywhere. I knew that my own season was coming.
News flies fast in this our Lagos. Before the next morning, everybody in our circle of friends had heard the story. They heard how the best friend turned into the worst enemy. The police went to Tolu's house to invite her for questioning about the harmful herbs she was giving me. They did not arrest her like a criminal with handcuffs, but the shame was enough to finish her. A police van parked in front of your gate is not a small thing. Neighbors were peeping from their windows. People were pointing fingers. The reputation she built for years crashed down in one single afternoon. The person who took it hardest was Femi, her husband. When he found out that his wife buried a charm inside his house and was poisoning her best friend, he was shaken. He is a man who fears God, and he could not believe he was sleeping on the same bed with such wickedness. He told her that if she could do this to Nneka, who was like a sister to her, then what would she do to him one day? Femi did not waste time. He told her to pack her load. He said he could not live with a woman who deals in darkness. Tolu cried and rolled on the floor. She begged him to consider their unborn child, but Femi said he would take care of the child when it is born, but he cannot live with the mother. He sent her back to her father's house in the village. Her friends ran away too. Nobody wants to be friends with a person who uses juju on their own people. If she could do it to me, she could do it to anybody. Tolu became alone. The Aso-Ebi Queen became the lonely woman that nobody wanted to greet. I heard she gave birth to a baby boy, but there was no big naming ceremony. There was no Aso-Ebi distribution. There was no loud party. It was just quiet, because shame does not like noise. As for me, I moved on. I stopped stressing myself. I stopped crying every time I saw my period. I focused on my business and my husband. Obi and I traveled to Dubai for a second honeymoon just to clear our heads. We laughed, we ate good food, we danced. I removed the bitterness from my heart because bitterness stops blessings from entering. I prayed for Tolu from afar. I asked God to have mercy on her soul, but I kept my distance because you do not hug a cactus plant just because you forgave it for having thorns. 1 year has passed since that day I found the lace in the flower pot. Today is Sunday, and the sun is shining bright. I am standing in my small garden at the back of the house. I am watering my hibiscus flowers. They are red and beautiful. Life is funny. Tolu tried to bury my destiny in a pot of sand, but she did not know that when you bury a seed, it will only grow stronger. She thought she was digging a grave for me, but she was actually digging a foundation for my testimony. I put down the watering can and I touch my stomach. It is round and heavy. Yes, God has done it. I am 7 months pregnant with twins. The doctor said they are strong and healthy. I feel them kicking me inside and I smile. I do not need to steal anyone's joy to be happy. I do not need to tie anyone down to rise up. My time has come. I look up at the sky and whisper thank you. The war is over, and Nneka has won without fighting. The fabric of envy has torn, but my own joy is stitched tight forever.